Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where last episode we had a completely nominal landing. As you can see here, it's very normal. We headed over, grabbed the science we need, now we're ready to have a very normal takeoff procedure. So I want to get us turned... We previously had some level of success trying it out over there in simulations. I want to try heading this way this time. Okay, we just lost that landing leg and the solar panel. That's not shocking. And we're just going to drift our way over here. We lost the other landing leg. Again, not shocking. I'm going to retract our landing legs for now. And I just want to kind of power slide us out over this direction as best we can. We're having some success on the turn here. Ooh, hang on. Okay. There we go. We lost, I think, our light there, but that's fine. I'm throttling us up a bit. This is too much. We just want to be pretty careful here. Okay. And maximum throttle. We're pulling up. We're just going to up. Very normal takeoff procedure. Very, very normal. We did it. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. We're good. So at this point, I just want to burn straight up until our apoapsis is probably like around 10 kilometers or so. I can't believe that actually worked. I love it. That is amazing. I mean, we knew that it was probably going to work, right? We knew that there was a way that we could make that happen. So, I love it. It's absolutely great. Our apoapsis is up high enough at this point, and I'm just going to bring us on over to the horizon. Our inclination is probably going to be a little weird, but I don't care too much about that, considering the situation that we find ourselves in here. We're overshooting this a little bit. Let's bring this back to the horizon, and I don't want to be at up. I just want to be on lock here. Perfect. And we've got lots of delta V to bring ourselves back in. We've got about 1 minute to apoapsis, which is probably enough time to make our way to orbital velocity. Probably. But that was an exceptionally normal takeoff procedure. No doubt about that. Now, this is still marked. That is because we did not finish our mission. We have to return the material, right? So that's fine. We have to return it back to Kerbal. Our apoapsis is going up a little bit here. Our time to apoapsis is actually slowing. So that looks good. We've drifted a little bit off of the horizon position. Not that we need to be exactly on the horizon. We're a little awkward in our velocity. But I mean, that's to be expected. This was a very normal takeoff, as you can tell. Exceptionally, exceptionally normal. Situation nominal is what I assume Jebediah reported after that landing to the KSC. He's just like, we have landed, situation nominal. And they're just looking at the telemetry and they're like, yep, that checks out. That sounds right. You can see here time to apoapsis is going up. That means we have successfully achieved orbital velocity. Well, not yet, but we will successfully achieve orbital velocity. Our inclination is a little off here, but I don't care. That's completely fine. Let's bring our apoapsis up to, I don't know, like 50 kilometers. That'll be fine. We're at 25. We're in orbital velocity right now, and sure, 57. That'll work. At this point, at the apoapsis, we are going to create a maneuver plan, and we're going to bring this out like so. Now, I want to check our fuel situation while we're aligning for that burn. So let's get aligned, and let's hop into our resource manager. I want to check to see how we're doing here. We've got about 3 tons of fuel in each of these exterior tanks. Okay, so we don't need to get rid of those just yet. It's only going to be 30 meters per second to get ourselves into orbit. That's quite an inclination for sure. I'm wondering if we should maybe just do something like this and just do our escape burn here. kind of like that-ish. I mean, Kerbin's definitely not going to be there, right? But we would not want to do that full burn. We would just bring it out to around Eve's orbit or so. So it would be something a bit more akin to this or so. That's still about 3 kilometers per second on that burn. So that seems fine. We can absolutely do that, and we'll just warp on over. Wonderful. Ooh, we even went up to 100x. I like it. For a second there, I thought we'd have to be at 4x forever. But no, we're good. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to burn this in about 30 seconds. This is our escape burn from Moho. We, of course, need to return on home, and that'll be fine. So we've got about 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, mark. Now, this is going to be a long burn, and I want to keep open our resource manager because we're going to need to know when these run out of fuel. I don't know if that'll happen in this burn or not, but we're going to need to know because we want to ditch these tanks as soon as we do. So for now, are we actually making progress while we warp? We are. That looks good. So I'm doing this in 10x, and we're just keeping an eye on our fuel level. I think we've got enough fuel in these tanks to complete this burn. So I'm like 95% certain that that's what's happening here. It's definitely a long burn and a bit inefficient of one. But it looks okay. Cool. Let's come out of 10x warp and see what our resulting orbit is looking like. Oh, this looks fine. I'm going to call it good here. So that looks okay. At this point, we want to just warp to escape. So we're going to warp to about here, 45 minutes in the future. Goodbye, Moho. It was a pleasure nominally landing on you. We're definitely going to have to do something about the turn rate of this for the record. We'll do that. We'll handle it. It's fine. So at this point, if we hypothetically set Kerbin as our target, this is not going to be set up correctly. This is the fuel station? Hang on. I want Kerbin. We're going to need the main body here. So we want Kerbin set as our target. Apparently I can't set it as our target. We can set Minmus, but not Kerbin, because that's currently our target. Okay. I want Kerbin to be our target. That's a comsat. Apparently we can't select Kerbin. There we go. Set target. Cool. So that's fine. Now we can see our ascending descending node is pretty far off, and we can see where we're looking to join up is going to be spicy. Out of curiosity, if we were to burn at the ascending node and not do an inclination change, but rather push this out, where would we be? Well, yeah, that's going to be a problem. We've got enough DV for an inclination change, and this is going to be in just like 3 days, so we probably should do this. It's going to be pretty expensive. That's very expensive, actually. That is quite expensive, but it should be fine. We should have enough DV for it. So we're just going to tweak the timing here a little bit. There we go. That looks good. And we'll align for that burn. Now, this burn is very, very likely to be burning out our side tanks. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll align for the burn, and the burn will be in about 3 days. This will just make it a lot easier for us to transfer over. And we'll see what it then looks like at the apoapsis, pushing the periapsis out. That would be the best way for us to do it and use our existing speed. Well, that'll reduce our braking burn anyway. So let's just move our way on forward here. We've got about 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. Wonderful. And about 3 minutes. We'll warp forward a little bit further than this. 2 minutes, 1 minute, and about 20 seconds, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. So this is going to be a 4-minute burn, and I think that we're actually going to have the fuel for this. When I think about how much DV we burned on our last one and how much of the actual fuel that burned about 1 ton of fuel from each of these tanks. So I think that this is actually going to be fine. Let's put it on 10x. We are making progress. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of fuel left in these side tanks. So that looks good. Not a lot of fuel left, but there will be some. 0.7 tons at this point. Hang on. We are about to overshoot this. There we go. Stop that burn. Where are we at? 0.1. Close enough. We'll call that good. So, if we were to go to the apoapsis and push out the periapsis here, that's going to be a lot of DV, but we do still have a lot. What does this look like in terms of an encounter? It's not great. Okay, that's fine. In which case, we're just going to bring this back, and we're just going to circularize right around here. So it's going to be a little bit too close, in my opinion, to the Kerbal orbit. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. It just might, it means we might have to warp a little bit further. That's fine. So this is going to be 2,000 meters per second. We've got 7,500 here, allegedly. And we'll probably end up burning off these side tanks partway through it. Let's align for the burn. We're definitely turning a lot faster now that our fuel is a lot lower. But I do want to make some tweaks to this lander. No doubt about it, we've discovered some problems. One of which is the turn rate. We can fix that. Another one is, of course, that over Tylo, this is not going to have the thrust to weight needed. We can definitely address that as well. It'll make the overall lander slightly heavier, but I'm not too concerned about that. It's so efficient as it is that it shouldn't be a big deal. So we're going to warp forward about 90 days here. Still another 3 hours, so we'll warp a little further. There we go. And let's bring this down a little further. Cool. About 20 seconds. 10 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Cool. So this is just a pure prograde burn here for about 2 minutes, and we're just going to bring this periapsis on up. In the meantime, we want to keep an eye on our resource manager, which apparently is refusing to open while we're in the map screen. That's exciting. Okay. Yeah, it'll open here, but it refused to open in the map screen. Whatever. KSP2 things. So that's fine. We've still got about half a ton of fuel in each of these tanks, so I'm definitely interested in burning all of that. 0.3 tons? Do we have enough to complete this burn? I think the answer is yes, barely. 0.03, 0.02, 0.01. Okay, I'm going to call that good. We burned all of the fuel in these tanks here. So now we need to separate those on off and just run on this. So we have 5,000 meters per second right now. But what happens if we ditch all this dead weight? That's a weird way for them to go, but okay. That almost doubled. That was a very weird way for them to go. That almost doubled our overall amount. Did we lose a solar panel on that? No, it was just unlit. Okay, so our solar panels are good. I don't know why they decided to go this direction, but whatever. Sure. It's going to be slightly awkward for us unless we warp, which we're planning on doing, right? At this point, what we need to do is we need to simply find an encounter. So maybe around here? How close is that going to be? Not all that close. We'll be here. Kerbal will be here. Okay. So if we bring it all the way around, it's not going to be enough. We're going to have to do some orbits. So let's go ahead and time warp to this point. And then we'll try again. So of course we've got all of that debris up there that we should theoretically never see again. I'm not sure where it is right now. It should be somewhere up over here, but yeah, it's very long gone at this point. It's way back over here. Sure. So that looks good. And let's try this again. So we would just create a maneuver plan up over here and prograde it up. That's better. but we're going to have to wait one more orbit. Okay, let's warp on over. Next orbit will be the one. And this is why I was saying that this is a little too close here. Our orbits aren't really all that different. So we have to have more time pass for the transfer window to change. But we're going to want it to be probably somewhere around here-ish. That's pretty close. About there. And then we can dial that in. So, I mean, we've got 8 kilometers per second to work with here, right? So that's not all that much. 300 meters per second to transfer in here, and let's bring this guy on in. Okay, so that's about 3,000 kilometers at this point. Oh, you can middle click and drag this. I had no idea. I want to be focused on Kerbal, so that'll be fine. And let's bring this in. Are we going to need a little bit of radial here? It feels like no. But a little bit of normal. That makes sense. Our inclination is not ideal. So we would just bring this down to somewhere around 40 kilometers, and then we'd do a radial retrograde burn with our remaining fuel, of which we have a lot. So somewhere around there would be our periapsis. Cool. I think that's pretty decent. So let's align for that burn. That'll be a 290 meter per second burn. That is not a very significant burn at all. Why didn't this update and tell us that we have a full fuel tank at 16.03 or approximately there, approximately full? I don't know. That's kind of strange. But whatever. It doesn't really matter. We do have full fuel tanks. Excellent. So we're going to commence this burn in 124 days. Let's warp on forward and bring Jeb, Bill, and Valentina on home. We've got about 3 more hours to warp. Now about 2 minutes. 1 minute. And about 10 seconds. Ooh, overshot it. Okay, let's just commence this burn. It doesn't really matter that we overshot it a little bit. This'll be fine. We're going to have to dial this in anyway, right? So that's okay. So let's just bring this on down. Somewhere around here-ish. And what are we looking at for our actual orbit? This is actually a... Okay, let's get rid of this. This is actually an impact trajectory, and I want to change that a little bit. So are we... If we're burning here... Okay, we want to burn retrograde a little bit. That's fine. I'm also going to thrust limit our engine here because this is going to be very, very large changes with very small amounts of thrust. So we're going to put that at a 1% thrust limiter. And let's just bring this on over to Kerbal. There we go. And let's bring this guy on down at just like a 1/3% of thrust. Okay, that's 13 kilometers. I want to bring it up to about 40. There we go. That'll work. So now, of course, we just want to, well, unthrust limit. That'll be a good thing. So we'll unthrust limit there. And I just want, at this point, to do a radial retrograde burn. So we're just going to warp up to around here, getting ourselves a bit closer. But that's not exactly where we want to be. Where we actually want to be is about here. We're probably going to have to warp another time. Actually, we didn't. Beautiful. So, we're coming in this direction. I would like to do a radial retrograde burn sometime around here. This will be a primarily retrograde burn, but we're going to need to toss in some radial to keep our periapsis positive. Okay. So something along the lines of this. I want the periapsis to be at about 40 kilometers, and the apoapsis should be about, well, where this burn is happening. Actually, this is pretty good right here. Yeah, that'll do. 1,224 meters per second, so we've still got a lot of delta V here, but that should be fine. We'll align for that burn. Nice and easy turn here. Excellent. Let's warp on down. Hello, Kerbal. And we're currently coming in, well, we've got another 18 minutes here. Let's continue to warp. Now we've got about 40 seconds. We're coming in at about 3 kilometers per second, and we've still got about 3 minutes to the periapsis. So a braking burn would definitely not go amiss here. These are non-retractable, right? Yeah, they're non-retractable. So our solar panels are definitely going to burn off. That's a change we should make as well. These solar panels should certainly be retractable. But it doesn't really matter, considering this is science mode. So it's okay. I wish there was a career mode in KSP2. In theory, there will be, but we'll see if there's any actual development happening. Okay, let's start this burn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Excellent. So we should be in orbit now. Yeah, we're definitely coming home, whether we do more burning or not at this point. Aerobraking would get us there, but it would probably take multiple aerobrake passes. For right now, we're just going to wrap up this burn. And I'm just watching our periapsis here. It's going up right now. It'll go down in the second half of the burn. But once the periapsis hits 40 kilometers, that's when I'm going to stop the burn. I think we'll probably overburn a little bit over the maneuver node. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so we're no longer angling to be in atmosphere at this point, but the periapsis is going to start dropping significantly very soon as that apoapsis wraps around towards our current position. Yeah, now it's starting to drop. So we're just going to keep burning here until 40 kilometers. Little further. We could take it lower than this, to be honest. We could go 20. Let's do it. That'll be a little faster of a recovery. Cool. So something along the lines of that. At this point, we do not need this extra 6,567 meters per second, and we can just throw it away, and that feels really dirty to do. But there's nothing else to do with it, so we might as well. There we go, and we're going to re-enter like this. We're going to see these solar panels burn off, almost certainly. Let's put ourselves into surface mode and just take ourselves over to surface retrograde. And now we need to warp. Cool. We're going to be accelerating towards the periapsis for another 10 minutes or so here. And we dropped a couple of kilometers off of our periapsis from that ejection, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Okay, hitting atmosphere now, and let's move this on over to retrograde. Wonderful. Okay, so we are re-entering. The docking port was, of course, unnecessary, but it might be necessary on Tylo. I'm not entirely certain how that's going to go. We'll see. We definitely need some redesign of this lander, but that's not going to be a this episode sort of thing, I suspect. Let's just physics warp our way through this re-entry, say goodbye to the solar panels because they're not surviving. I'm shocked that they haven't burnt off already. Actually, I'm not. In reality, they would have, but in KSP, they're a little more robust. Okay. We're still up in orbital velocity right now, although we're about to drop below it already. We had a very good re-entry burn, of course. I mean, that wasn't really a re-entry burn, was it? It was more of a preemptive re-entry burn. But that's okay. Looks like we're going to be coming down possibly over water. It's a little hard to tell. But that is my current theory. Yeah, we're seeing those solar panels heating up, and that is deeply unsurprising at this point. We're slowing down a lot, though. Actually, the solar panels survived. That is shocking. It's hard to see, but because it's nighttime. But the solar panels did survive. That is absolutely remarkable. All 4 of them survived. That would not have happened in KSP1. That's for sure. We're going slow enough at this point to put out the chutes. I kind of don't want to, though. If we could get to a splashdown, that would be preferable, and right now we're technically over land a little bit. I'd like to continue to drift downward towards this water. We're very, very close to being over water right now, and I want to guarantee a water landing, so I'm just delaying opening of the chutes. Okay, we should be able to do drogues now. And the drogues are, of course, hilariously tiny for this craft. But let's get the mains out. There we go. Cool. That should be more than sufficient to safely land this in water, right? I would hope so. Let's warp our way down. It's kind of hard to see what's going on, and let's just get through this. We'll see if the solar panels survive splashdown. If they do, I'll be shocked. There's the drogues deploying and bringing us down to about 55 meters per second. That's not too bad. Mains are going to deploy here and drop us down to 7 meters per second. So this would be completely safe for a land landing at this point. We can turn the SAS off, and the chutes will just take us right on in. We can kinda see what's going on here. Emphasis on kinda. We're going to be landing in the water here. This is pretty much picture perfect. So that was an extremely nominal flight. Everything about it was 100% nominal. I don't know what you're talking about. Very normal. All of it. 100%. We found some problems. We're going to do some redesign. But that will be a next episode sort of thing. For now, splashdown is occurring now. And let's recover it. Confirm. Okay. Yeah, we did get our mission control finished up. Excellent. So let's head over to mission control. And that should get the gourmand finished. Wonderful. The snacks department is very excited. Perfect. As well they should be. So, at this point, our next mission is likely to be the Tylo Monument again, now that we've run that test and shaken out a few of the problems. We're going to have to do a little bit of a redesign. No doubt about it, but that's absolutely okay. It is, of course... Oh, and for the record, it might have been a better landing situation for us on Moho. We might not have tipped over if I had moved all of the fuel to the bottom tanks and set our center of mass lower. That might have worked. I'm not 100% sure if it would have. At this point, there's no way to know, but I suspect it would have made things better anyway. For now, of course, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to prepare and head out to Tylo. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.